Hi, Lighthearted Rainbow Tribe. It's snowing right here, right now. Springtime in the Rockies, and the sun is out. So how wonderful is that? Let us enjoy this beautiful mixture of weather events that we might experience in our own emotional being on any given day. And begin to give ourselves that time and space to simply be, to relax in the presence, and to be here as we are, in conscious contact with what offers us everything, everything. Silence, stillness, open receptivity. It's so amazing to live and experience this presence and to realize and embody to an ever greater degree with every passing day the truth that this embodies and that this loves. This loves embodying, it loves life. And this loves this, that we are. And all these beautiful and wonderful facets of love get involved, right? So the facet of generosity, generosity of spirit, generosity of expression, generosity of sharing, generosity of being with in such a way that allows everyone to flourish, to have their experience as it is, to open in the fullness of it. Mercy. The beautiful mercy, and I was reading in, well, I think she's a Christian mystic, Cynthia Bourgeault, and she said that the root word of mercy is merc, M-E-R-C. And, so mercantile, right? So there's a recognition that generosity and the mercy, that there's an exchange, there's a movement that's of mutual benefit in mercy and generosity, right? And that's kind of set in all of creation. So it's beautiful to recognize and notice this and come into active conscious participation with it. To be involved in the generosity and the mercy of this love. And that's not all. Compassion, for me, is an aspect of love. It's the love that is Emmanuel. It's this that is embodied and understands the human experience from the inside out and has the capacity to suffer, because that's one of the meanings of the word passion. The passion of the Christ is the suffering of the Christ, but it's also his transcendence of the suffering. It's both. So when we are in compassion, true compassion, com is a prefix that means with. So compassion is to be both with the suffering and this that is free of suffering, all at once. That's the real compassion. And it's love that does that. It's not us. Boy, there's some people, it's really for us embodied in seeing the devastation that some people wreak, the havoc that they wreak upon life. It's very hard to have compassion when we see people being harmed and we know they are harming themselves. And we may even understand the depths of human suffering enough to understand where that comes from. But they can be unrepentant. They can be uninterested in learning and growing and changing their experience, at least at the point in time that we might encounter them. To recognize that compassion and this love can come in and meet ourselves, our humanness, in that experience, where we tell the truth and we say, I cannot love this person as myself right now. I can't love their behavior. I can't love what they're doing. I'm upset about the consequences. And turning within towards this love, saying, I cannot do it of myself. That's this love in action, telling the truth. That's the truth. And turning towards something that has the capacity to love everyone. It's pure, unconditioned love. And that love can heal us of our inability just as well as it can move the mountains that need to be moved for someone who's willful, unrepentant perpetrator. Let's use that word, why not? So there we have generosity, mercy, compassion. And part of mercy is not just this mutual benefit. I mean, that's part of it, but it's grace. It's the aspect of grace that comes in whether anybody deserves it or not. This sun, like this sun, is shining on everyone, whether they deserve the sun to shine on them or not. It doesn't matter. It's shining. This shines. This love shines. Let's see. So, here we have the expressive movement of this life. So, it's all this. Love, life. This love, this life. This loves life. And inhabiting in these beautiful creature beings called human beings, in our divinity, in our realization, we are this love loving itself, in truth, in the truth that we are all one. And that's the catchphrase of the mission of LightHearted Enterprises, which this one, coming to you live, known as Unreal, is the primary minister for, the founding minister for. It's LightHearted Enterprises, lightheartedenterprises.com. So the recognition that this love alive is this life, and it is a constant loving, giving forth, emanating, providing, maintaining, sustaining, living truth, presence alive. I may be redundant in my enthusiasm, but I can't help myself. So a phrase that came up that kind of started this movement this morning in a conversation I was having with my dear undercover co-conspirator, Amaya, is love and let this have its way. Let this do the works. And we're not loving. Love is loving. And we are the instruments for that love. So it's not we of ourselves who are doing the loving. And it's certainly not a lot of what we think love is. It's not romantic love. It's not this emotion that floods us through our systems. It's certainly not hormonal. And it's not attachment. There are many things that it actually isn't, that is misunderstood. People say, I love you. When there is no me and there is no you, there's just love. Discover that, live that. This fiery love light, this dynamic, creative aliveness, this open spaciousness that embraces and holds everything, including everything and everyone. This is beyond human love, which is beautiful. It's an aspect when we really get what it is, when we're willing to put aside our lives for the betterment of other. Jesus said, there is no greater love than the love one has that would lay their life down for their brother, for their friend, for their self in another form. That's not selfish love. That's not me getting what I want from a relationship. That's not got anything to do with love. This real and true love is this offering. And as I spoke to last week, I think this extravagant love that will give all that it's got for the good, whatever good that appears. The good of your friend, the good of your kid, your parent, the good of a stranger, the good of the world in general. That doesn't matter. Because love and basic goodness go together. Just like perfection and fundamental rightness go together. And there's no opposite. There's no bad and there's no wrong in the basic. It only exists in duality, when our consciousness is in duality. So the transcendent, the non-dual, if you will, and beyond the non-dual, is, I always want to say that, because people are getting stuck in the non-dual. Open up. Open up. Let your heart open. Let your tender heart feel what it feels. Let it break open when it needs to. Let it be fostered and tended in greater expansive union, communion. The loving offering of generosity, of mercy, of compassion, of giving of everything. I mean, that's a beautiful teaching of faith and love and hope. Is the story of the widow and the holy man, Elijah, was on the run from his persecutors, pretty hungry and having difficulty, and he was led to this widow, and this widow said, I have nothing to give you, and he said, what have you? And she went in her house and she found a little bit of meal and she found a little bit of oil, and she said, okay, I'm putting this together for this guy. She put together the last of her meal and the last of her oil. She made a little cake for him and she brought it out, and lo and behold, her vat of oil filled, and throughout the rest of her life it never ran out of oil. She gave the last of what she had for the good of another. There's magic in that story. Love. Be love. Open yourself into love when you're not feeling loving. Let that be the first thing that you do in the morning, is to get into basic and conscious contact with the essential goodness and love of life. Let it tend you. And then as it tends you, your cup will overflow. How wonderful. So much love for you. I have such deep and profound experiences of this love It blows my mind constantly. And it's a good thing to have your mind blown so you can go out of your mind. Much of what this isn't valued in this materialistic world. That's part of the radical shift, the transformation that we're in. It's not valued. And so the big bucks don't necessarily come our way. But it's beginning to be valued. And it's beginning to be valued because we're placing ourselves into a situation in the world where nothing but the grace of the holy being we are can get us out of the mess we're getting ourselves into. And we are the instruments, the on-the-ground crew for this love. The holy fools for this love, that give our lives away for this love, that there might be more love in the world. So enjoy this. Love. Discover it deeper, discover it more thoroughly. Discover what it can do. Amazing. Wondrous. So much love.